What did you think about the drama today and the characters?
Good.
You liked them?
The drama's always good, you know.
Did you learn anything new about the war from it?
Well, it's whenever they say when the war's over, you know, they go back to their natural life, and common sense will tell you it's just doesn't, you can't take up from the ordinary life because you've seen so much, you know, and so few come back, you know. I can go back and remember a couple of boys that did come back home. They're old men whenever I was working with them, you know. So it's a situation that has occurred, but I don't hope it doesn't have to occur again, you know. That's just my feeling, my genuine feeling. They gave up their lives, you know what I mean? It's terrible.
The war was very good. As soon as we went in the door, I didn't know what I was expecting. And as soon as you walked through the door, the two characters were standing. And as I walked in, I was about to say to Bobby, look at the dummies or the mannequins. And of course the girl, she moved. And he freaked. But brilliant, really, really brilliant. It made you think, you were coming from the corridor outside in today's world, and as you step past the two characters like that, you were in another era. You were in the battlefield era, you know, and you could nearly, in the distance, you could sort of hear in your mind the shells blowing up, the soldiers talking and shouting, the gunfire, and you could even nearly smell the sulphur, you know. Really, really good, very impressed.
So did you think that the drama was a really good way of
very good.
Showcasing the experience?
It let you see what the soldier went through on the battlefield, through to the nurses' station, and then through to home itself. And then when they got home, they were relieved that they were home, but then they wondered how were they going to cope, because there was no more of this stress and noise and everything else, you know.
And we just want to get your final thoughts on the Treasure House project.
Brilliant. And I was actually pleased during the year to find out it has been extended for another year. So if we can keep extending each year as it comes, it'll be brilliant. Because without that, we don't really have anything else to do, you know. We're sitting down muttering to ourselves in the wee back room. But no, we love the Treasure House, absolutely brilliant.
I'd like to pick your brains about what you think about the Treasure House project.
I think it's brilliant. It gives you something to talk about, and then you look around. In my kitchen, all the things were made, and remember, you know, when we made them and the fun we had and the laugh. It's very good. It lifts you. That's kind of like that. It lifts you. It gives you something to look forward to. And I do a lot of baking for the lunch, and it gives you something else to do. It's good.
And do you like coming to the museum?
Oh yes, very much so. Yeah, very much so.
And what did you think of today?
I thought today was brilliant, yeah. It's good to see young ones taking part in something to do with the First World War, because they have no idea. Even the Second World War, a lot of them have no idea what it's about and suffering and all. But no, it's very good.
Do you feel that this collaboration between NMNI and Living Legacies has helped you to achieve the aims of the goals of the Treasure House project?
Yeah, definitely. The collaboration between Treasure House and Living Legacies has been fantastic. Treasure House is all about opening up the museum to people who wouldn't otherwise come to museums and who are maybe lonely or isolated. So this gives us the opportunity to offer something completely different, something that inspires, something that maybe makes people question their views. And also, because Living Legacies kind of fits really well with our remit, a lot of the people that would come to Treasure House would have a background with services, because Clanmill used to own the Royal British Legion housing, and so we do find that there is a great interest in World War I amongst our participants.
And so after these events, have you noticed any difference in any of the participants after they came along to one of these sessions?
Yes, we do find that after the sessions, people say that they feel energised. We hear so often that people have said that they've been sort of worried about coming to the museum, and if it's a rainy day or they're not feeling so good, they kind of think, should I come or shouldn't I? But then they say when they get here and everybody's here, there's a buzz and there's something new and something exciting to look at, that they feel their spirits are lifted. And one of the outcomes that we have found from this programme is that people talk about what's happened in the museum on their way home in the bus, and also they talk to their friends and their families, and it's a great conversation starter because they find out new and interesting and different things which they can then talk about. And one of the comments we had actually for Living Legacies was a gentleman who said that he'd actually had a conversation with his grandson, and he hadn't really spoken to his grandson very much because he said he didn't really have an awful lot to say, but because he'd seen the drama and it has sparked conversations, he was able to talk to his grandson about his own experiences and his war experiences and his family, and that was something that was very special indeed to him.
And what did you think of the use of drama as a way to communicate stories and experiences, not just about the war, but just in general?
Well, working with the treasure house groups of older people, I find that they love drama. They absolutely love it. It doesn't matter if it's highbrow or lowbrow, any which way that it works, they absolutely adore it. They feel that not that they're just being entertained, but they're being informed at the same time. And it gives them a chance to talk among each other afterwards, as if you would when you were walking out of a theatre or cinema. You talk about what you've just seen, and that really gives them a really good opportunity to be able to do that. It helps them to bond together in a way that they wouldn't necessarily be able to, and especially with World War I, because so many of them have connections to it. Some of them, after coming to the sessions and seeing the play in World War I, they've brought in newspaper clippings to us, so that we can maybe incorporate them into our next sessions. Or they'll bring in their own family history, they'll bring in medals. Somebody brought a sword in one time, so it really does. They can go back to the things that they've experienced and that they have, the artefacts that they have in their own lives, and they'll bring them in to us to share them with everyone, which is absolutely wonderful. It's exactly what we want. And it also encourages them to talk to their families about it in a way that they might not have done before. They have all this information inside them, but doing this sort of thing gets them talking about it and gets them sharing it and looking it up with their families, which is just perfect.
And have you noticed any difference in any of the participants after they've come along to any of these sessions?
Oh yes, very much so. Some of the groups have individuals in them who would have been really, really quite isolated and wouldn't have really gone out of the scheme very much, wouldn't have the opportunity to get out of the scheme. And they'll come in and take part in the activities that we're doing, they'll watch the plays, but then they'll start to bring stuff in for us. They'll start to bring in, newspaper clippings of World War I experiences or beekeeping or whatever the talk has been on or whatever the activity has been on. They'll start to bring it in, so they really, really engage on it in quite a deep level, which is brilliant.